What time is it? It's Sampstra Games time, and welcome to my guide on trade in Field of Glory Empires. Now, before we start, I want to say that trade in this game is fully automatic. You will never need to click on something and say, hey, create a trade route or something like that. It's all automatic. So why would you want to watch a trade guide? Well, that's because if you understand how the trade works, you can manipulate it to make a lot more money. So the first thing is kind of how you treat the goods. So yeah, there are two types of way that you can look at goods. Either you need the good, we're going to call that in this guide, or it gives you a bonus. So then we're going to call it a bonus good. So in the furnace, we actually can see that a bonus good is coal. If we have coal, or if we can import it, we're going to gain additional metal. And it needs iron in order to work, which is currently imported from Pastanum and cost us 6 gold. So depending on whether the good is needed or it gives you a bonus in the region treats it differently. But before we talk about that more in detail, there are two main terms that you're going to be meeting when talking about trade in Field of Glory Empires, and that's trade acumen and trade range. So what trade acumen is essentially how good your merchants are. When is that reflected? What does that mean? Well, when the game is deciding from where to trade, then it has multiple options. For example, I can trade from Lacy Markets, and I can trade from Dacia, like if I'm in this region, for example. It's going to look at the trading acumen of each of these regions, like this one and that one, which is from where I could trade potentially, and decide which one has the highest trade acumen, and then it's going to trade from that. So this can give you a benefit of making sure that other nations trade with you, or that you are more likely to trade with yourself. We're going to talk a little bit more about that later. So having high trade acumen is very good. Now, trade acumen is dependent on your state, but then you can also have additional buildings in a region that can increase the trade acumen for that specific region. So the trade range is generally like from how far you can trade into a specific region. Okay, so now we talk about trade range and trade acumen. So how does this actually work? When does the game decide to trade? So there are essentially 3 ways that you can get a certain good. You can either have it locally, you can trade it, or it can be missing. And we're going to talk about what that means for the bonus goods and for the needs good, because it's pretty important. So you should be able to see a table right now that's going to tell you like how is this going to work out, and I'm going to walk you through it. So first let's talk about goods that are available locally. What does that mean? Well, what it means for you is that you don't actually need to pay to trade it in, so you just have it. Now, if it's a needed type of a good, it needs to be in the specific region. So if I'm, for example, looking at Macedonia here, actually has to, whatever goods I need. So for example, if I need iron, actually, in order for me not to pay for it, it has to be in this specific region. If it's a bonus type of good, it can be in any of the neighboring regions. So that's very important. So if it's, for example, right here in Dentaletai, I can actually still use it in Macedonia, and I don't need to pay for it at all. So it's going to give me the bonus benefit, even though it's not in my region and I don't have to pay for it at all. Now, second type of things is if you trade the stuff in. So, very important point here, bonus goods do not get automatically traded in. This is super important. Bonus goods do not get automatically traded in. What does that mean? Well, what does that mean is this. If you look at a region, and you look, for example, at the furnace, which can have a bonus 7 from coal, if I don't have in any of my neighboring areas anything that produces coal, or in the area itself, I will not get that bonus. It will not trade for itself automatically. So even if I have coal elsewhere within my range, for example in Drillon right here, it's not going to get traded in, because bonus goods does not automatically get traded in. So how do you get that? How do I get that bonus if I need it? Well, for example, look at my region, Epidamia and Epirus. So I have a street parlor that would like to get a bonus of money from getting papyrus, but I do not make papyrus in this region. So how come I'm capable of getting this bonus? Well, that is because I have a secondary building called Preceptor House that actually needs papyrus, and because it needs papyrus and papyrus is within my range, it will get automatically traded in. And then once the need building gets it traded in, this region and any of the neighboring regions can then use it for the bonus. And this is very important. So not only you're trying to make buildings that produce some sort of good so the other areas can use it for their bonuses, but you also sometimes want to build a neat building because you need to get it to trade in, because the bonus buildings will not trade it themselves. So that's why building a neat building is actually really, really good. There's one more thing, and that's if something is missing. What does that mean that something is missing? Well, that means that it's not within your trade range, so we cannot get it. Now, if this is a bonus, then just like before with the, even if it's in range, we're not trading for it automatically. Same for missing stuff, we're not going to trade for it automatically. But what if a building needs it? What if I have an armor that needs leather? Now, it's going to tell you right here that it's missing, and the money here is red. Now, what does that mean? Well, first of all, if a trade is missing, you're paying way more money for it. We're going to talk about that in the next section, but that's the first thing. But the second and more important thing, good is missing, you will still import it. You will pay this 9 gold per turn to get the armor, but it will no longer be able to be used for the bonuses in the neighboring area. So if you look at Thessalia here, which I'm using to get that armor to get the leather, even any of the neighboring areas would want to use a leather as for their bonus, it will not apply. It will not apply because the idea is that it's very difficult to get the leather because it's very far. So you're only getting what you need to make this building work, and you're not getting anything extra. So this is the difference between a good that is missing and that's not missing. You're still going to trade it. You're going to pay more money. I'll talk about it in a second. But it will not be applicable for the bonuses of any of the surrounding regions. So that's very important. Last thing to talk about is that one building that produces, for example, horses can be applied for any of the neighboring regions. So it can be like traded multiple times. You don't need to have it many times. So if I have one building that makes horses, all of these areas can use it for bonuses or for trading within range. You can trade it to multiple other nations or yourself. Let's lastly talk about the prices. So how much do you actually pay for the different trade goods? Okay, so there are 3 different options. You can either trade with yourself, trade with some other nation, or you can buy the missing goods from some other nations, right? So how does this work? Well, first of all, let's talk about if you're trading with another nation, because that's just the basic. You pay the full price of the good. The other nation gets the full price of the good for themselves. So for example, here, if I have something that I'm trading like lumber from Zogis, I pay 4, they get 4, everybody's happy. Okay, that's it. What if the good is missing? Then you pay 3 times the price. So you actually pay 12 for that same lumber because it's not in your range. So again, if you look at the leather, I'm paying 9. Now the regular cost of leather is apparently 3, but I have to pay 3 times the amount. Now, lastly, you can trade with yourself. And this is a very, very powerful, so something that you definitely want to do. So now, if you look at my province, Thessalia, I have a harbor here that actually needs hemp. So I don't make hemp locally. Remember, because it's a needed good, locally means just in that region, not in the neighboring. It's not a bonus good. So I need to trade it from somewhere. I can trade it from Akarnania, which is actually a neighboring region right here. That is my own. So I pay 2 gold for that. Okay, it says so right here. But if you look at the trade details, you can see that in Akarnia, you actually make more than that. The trade value of hemp is 4. I've gotten a net profit of 2 gold per turn just from this. And this is something that you can use a lot if you have high trade acumen, or if you have a lot of like regions in general and producing a lot of stuff somewhere. You can trade all the stuff around and give yourself extra money because you're always making a net profit of half of the price of that good. So you always pay half to trade it in, but you get the full amount on the other side. So that half is your profit. So you can use this with a lot of different goods. Now, one more tip is that if you're at war with another nation, you cannot trade for them, which doesn't mean that you will not trade for the good at all. You will just look at other options, or it will be considered missing, and then you need to trade from much further away and pay extra, which is not great, but it's another thing. Now, lastly, let me show you this kind of like a trade goods information here. So first of all, what you can look is like if you click on a region, for example, if I'm clicking on Macedonia, you can see like the natural trade goods, we have gold here. Then we have manufactured trade goods, which we have horses, flax, and salt. So this is all we're making. And you can immediately see the trade value and how much, to where are we exporting it. So we're exporting quite a bit of salt into Macedonia, which is great. So you can see manufactured trade goods. Then you can see what we are importing. We're currently importing wine and iron. Missing trade goods, this is the thing that we're paying 3 times the amount for. So this is very expensive, so we really want to get something that makes jewelry anywhere in our nation, essentially, because this we should have a range to almost everywhere from this central regions. And this is a missing bonus trade goods. Now this is very important because this means this we are not getting the bonus on. It tells you what it would generate extra. You can see that this would give you extra 5 food at an orchard. This would give you extra 10 culture at an emperor palace and stuff like that. So another thing to think about if I'm looking at this region is, could I build a building that actually needs any of these? And if I could, then it's probably a good idea, because then I can not only, well, I get the benefit of whatever building I'm building, but I can also give the people the bonus. So for example, if I look at, actually don't have, yeah, if I would look at a silver. Now, yes, you might say, well, silver is probably expensive, right? So getting silver is like not the cheapest thing in the world, probably not. But it would give me extra 10 money bonus on the gold mine. So actually building a building that needs silver would be a very profitable idea in this region. Ideally, if I'm making the silver myself somewhere else in my nation, then it would be just golden. So this is something that you want to look at when you're considering trade. Now, if you have any more tips about trade, write them down in the comments so we can all learn how to play the game better. And if you're interested, you can also check out my Let's Play for Field of Glory Empires. It's going to be on the right top. Or on the right bottom, you can watch Evil Bank Manager, which is a game where you try to take over the world with money. I'll see you there. Bye bye.